Introduction to iron arm training and the steel rings. Ding dong xing. The ring is made of steel. In order to enhance the strength, speed, hardness, and endurance of the body, the special steel ring is placed on the arms and practiced with different movements and postures. The number of rings is equal on each arm. The practice of using steel rings originated in the late Ming and early Qing dynasties. The practice method of this school was passed down from the Beijing armed escort companies, and one of its leaders was Cheng Youlong. The martial arts teacher, Cheng Youlong, once worked as an armed escort and bodyguard in Beijing. After the disbandment of the armed escort company, he made a living by teaching martial arts, and he was a second-generation exponent of Bagua Zhang. From him I inherited 4 hanging basket forms: iron palm training and iron arm training with the steel rings. The sandbags, the iron palm training, and the iron arm steel rings training were highly regarded by the armed escorts of Beijing. The iron arm steel ring training was formerly called ring dart because the rings were used as a throwing weapon, and this skill was practiced secretly. Previously, some people used lead in the rings, but this was abandoned because of lead's toxicity and the dull sound which it made. Later, iron ring were placed on the arms and training was done according to the certain martial arts postures and practice. One ring is about 1 kilogram, and practitioners can start with 6 rings of each arm or according to the individual's physical strength. It is best to use no more than 12 rings on each arm, about 24 kilograms, as too many rings will affect the movement ability of the arms. With this training, practitioners will increase their physical strength in 1 month, and in 3 months, strength, speed, and hardness of the arms will see a big increase. When iron ring are practiced, the sound should be crisp. In a quiet place, the sound of the iron ring can be heard for 5 or 6 miles. The iron rings were used a communication method by the armed escorts. A scout would ride ahead on horseback and use the rings to make sounds to warn of danger or different sounds to signal safety. The lead scout would have several iron rings hung on both sides of the saddle. In a situation of danger when being attacked, the iron ring exponent could throw the iron ring as a projectile to attack his enemy. This was extremely lethal, so it was also called ring dart. There are big differences in the size and weight of different iron rings in this martial art. Teaching of iron ring training was a secret. Some Kung Fu styles use a small steel ring size which weighs only 500 grams and only use the rings up to the elbow. These styles feature a small iron ring at the front end and larger iron rings behind to prevent the larger rings from falling off the arms. Different styles of Kung Fu have different training methods, but the common purpose for all styles is to increase strength, speed, and the hardness of the arms. The training should be gradual, and should be to slowly increase the training time. In my style, we place rings on the 4 arms and hold 1 ring in each hand at the same time. Then we hold rings in a certain posture for a few minutes. After strength is gained doing the static postures, we start doing movements with the rings such as thrusting movements and circular arm movements while still standing still. After a certain skill level is achieved, the practitioner will do a set of choreographed moves, called forms with the rings. This will help keep the training more interesting for the Kung Fu practitioner.